Not long ago, I was watching TV and there was a commercial for the most interesting man in the world, Dos Equis man. At the end of the commercial, he says, "Stay thirsty, my friend." You know, this weekend as the church celebrates the third Sunday of Lent, we have a whole theme of thirst, a thirst for God's mercy, a thirst, though, that's materialized in the concept of thirsting for water. You know, I love the fact that the human heart is always thirsting for God. St. Augustine says, "My heart thirsts for the living God." But this weekend we encounter a woman at the well who is sort of an epitome of humanity. It's a representation of all of us. How many of us, we sit by the well of life, so to speak, and Christ comes passing by and he begins to speak to us. He says, you know, hey, I'm thirsty. I'm very thirsty for love. I'm thirsty for your presence in my life. Christ is always thirsty. We know that from the cross. I thirst. But the human heart thirsts for God. The human heart is constantly thirsting for the presence of God in its life. And that's why we end up sometimes being so unfulfilled. We try to substitute this water for the very living presence of Christ. And actually it never fulfills us. This weekend, as the church sort of gravitates itself to this moment in which the woman at the well is greeted by Christ, and she begins this process of faith. Who are you? She calls him all these names. You must be a Jew. You must be a prophet. And then after the encounter, she says, come meet a man who's told me everything I've ever done. He must be the Savior of the world. You know, there's a process of faith in all of our lives. Lent is the time to sort of turn away from the water that is unfulfilling and turn to Christ, the living God, the living water. Two things I want you to think about. Number one, has there been a time in your life when you substituted this water for the living water? You were dissatisfied. Where were you when you were dissatisfied? Where'd you turn? The second thing to realize is that, did you ever realize that Christ thirsts for you? He thirsts for your love. It's never an easy concept to digest. Why does God thirst, need me? But the moment that you begin to make that a personal reality in your life, that Christ thirsts for my presence, Christ thirsts for my love, my forgiveness of others, then actually the thirst begins to grow even greater. You see, the paradox of the thirst of God is that when you thirst for God, you're never satiated. You have a deeper thirst for the living God all the time. And that's the mystery of Christ. So this week, I just want you to take a little personal inventory and say, Lord, where have I thirsted for you as well? And where have I satiated your thirst as well? And pray for the grace to make a good confession before the end of Lent. Sorry, I've been absent for a while. I was in Cancun for a couple weeks, as you can tell by my great tan. Well, I really wasn't. I was working hard. But now we're back. Tell your friends we're back. We're fired up. We'll make great videos. So do me a favor. Pass this video along. And ask somebody, are they thirsting for Christ? And remember, stay thirsty, my friend. It's more than a sermon. It's more than a thought. It's the reality of Jesus Christ. God bless you.